So there actually is one final addition that I want to do before we export this and watch our masterpiece. Now, I've already explained it in previous chapters, but I did go through and add a warp stabilizer filter to the shots that needed it. All this footage is pretty dang smooth because it was shot on a gimbal, so there's just a few little bumps and shakes here and there, but if you want to know more about the warp stabilizer, how to use it, how to refine it, check the lectures in the previous chapters. But for this lesson, what I wanted to focus on is we did a great job creating our transition, but if I let it play and I watch it back, there's something missing when there's something that is kind of a drastic change or a unique part of the video. We've learned this before, and it what it is that it helps to have an audio cue, an audio sound effect, something that goes along with the effect or the visual that someone is seeing. So if we hit play, right. So it matches up with a point in the song where the rhythm or the pacing changes, which is perfect, but it's needing a little something because it's kind of out of the blue. There's no special effects in the rest of the video or transitions. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find a swoosh audio transition that's going to help tell the story of this cool transition that we created. So I'm going to just kind of scroll through, and whichever one I do end up using, I'll drop in the student downloads so that you can also drop it in to your showcase edit. And I'm just looking for a slow, elegant, like kind of transition. Okay, these are all a little bit too fast. Let's try this one. Let's go ahead and drag this in. So I'm going to take this one. It's going to need some work. It's definitely not perfect, but let's go ahead and drag this in and let's just see. Okay, so we're definitely going to need to slow this down. So I'm going to slow it down to, let's say, 60%. And let's turn down our music track just a little bit. And I'm going to slow it down even more to 30%. Okay, let's turn up our transition. That's too much. Okay, that's looking and sounding a lot better. Let's check that out one more time. Okay, and if we want to add even more of a reverb to it to really kind of fill in and sustain the effect a little bit more and create a little bit more personality, we can add a studio reverb. I love the Great Hall preset. I generally turn the room size like all the way up, turn the decay higher, which makes it last longer. It's the tail end of the effect. Turn up the dry, which is the sound effect itself, and the wet is the effect and reverb layered on top of the sound effect. We can turn down the dampening, turn down the diffusion. That means the effect is going to be more sustained as well. And when you dampen something or you diffuse something, you kind of spread it out, split it up, and make it less. So we don't want to do that. Let's now take a listen. Okay, that's pretty cool. So if you could hear that, what happened was I hit play. That's a little bit too long. So we can turn our dampening and diffusion up a little bit, bring our room size down, bring our decay down. So it's going to shorten the amount of the effect. Okay. Now, let's say that we want to sustain this effect and we don't want it to end abruptly at the end of this clip. We can duplicate the clip, turn the volume all the way down, select our studio reverb, copy it, and remove it from this effect right now. It's going to make sense in a second. I'm going to highlight both of these clips. I'm going to right click. I'm going to nest these clips. Now we have the same exact sound effect, but it extended the clip. And if I paste back the studio reverb back on, now let's listen. It gets to extend without dropping away because the clip did not end. What we did there was a little bit of a pro tip. Oh my God, the pro tips. It was a little bit of a pro tip to extend the clip so that all of a sudden the reverb doesn't just end abruptly. So now let's hear it with our soundtrack. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is export our final edit and we're going to get a chance to look back at what we did. Okay, so I am super hyped because we just finalized and finished this entire chapter and we finished our entire showcase edit. So we got into a lot more of the refinement tips, techniques, strategies for creating a more cohesive but elegant video. It doesn't have to always be crazy swoosh transitions and montages. It can be clean video that's simple is sometimes more effective. So what I want to do now is sit back, relax, and watch the final final. I was going to say video and edit. I said idio. Final edit that we created together. So let's check it out. Ooh, baby, it looked good, right? Super clean. And I really liked how the final product turned out. So I'm really excited to also see the edit that you were creating during this whole process when we were learning these kind of new, more refined techniques. Now, here's just a mini recap of some of the stuff that we learned in this chapter. We learned how to use shot arrangement to tell a story where no story was originally there while the footage was shot. So we showed the story of the exterior of the house, walking up, walking through the doorway, the experience that the person would have if they were actually there. Then we got into editing down our music. We took a 3.5 minute track, I believe, and edited it down to a minute and a half while still retaining the main beats, the main introduction, the bridge, and the more laid back part, and the more excited parts of the video or of the track, and, tailored it custom to fit the video that we were working on. Then we made some intro title cards for that very beginning introductory screen, and then we made some lower thirds title cards for other important information that we wanted to convey to our audience. And then we went into creating an ending motion graphic. This is where we use After Effects to create a much more stylized and high production value motion graphic with a title, with text, and with animation. We did a few more things, and then we also added a custom transition, a really cool day to night transition with a more beginner to intermediate version inside of Premiere or your main editing software, and then a slightly more advanced version where there's more ability to change the parameters inside of After Effects. We also added a little bit of a mini sound design part where we added that swoosh transition, and then we finalized our edit, did our color correction, and exported our final video. So, like I said, export, share your edit. You edit, okay. That's supposed to say your edit. So, yeah, go ahead and export and share your edit in the student Q&A so you can get feedback from myself and from the other students. That does it for the end of this entire chapter. I'm super excited to see you in the next chapter where we're going to be diving more into even more advanced editing techniques and principles.